Most people grow up believing income is the goal. Not because they were misled, but because it's what they were shown. Income is visible. Income is measurable. Income shows up on a screen every 2 weeks. From the beginning, progress is framed as earning more. Better grades lead to better jobs. Better jobs lead to higher pay. Higher pay is treated like success. It's simple, it's intuitive, and it feels logical. When someone asks how you're doing, they're usually asking about income. What do you do? How much do you make? No one asks what you own. No one asks what would happen if the income stopped. Those questions stay quiet. So, over time, income becomes the scoreboard. More income means you're winning. Less income means you're behind. This belief doesn't come from greed, it comes from repetition. Income is easy to compare, easy to celebrate, easy to explain. Wealth isn't. Wealth doesn't announce itself. It doesn't show up as applause. It doesn't arrive on a schedule. Most of the time, wealth is invisible. It sits quietly in the background, doing its work without being noticed. Because of that, people learn to chase what they can see. They optimize for income without ever being taught what income actually represents. Income feels like progress because it moves. It rises, it falls, it responds to effort. That movement creates the illusion of advancement. As long as numbers change, it feels like something is happening. But movement isn't the same as position, and that distinction rarely gets explained. So people do what makes sense. They work harder, they chase promotions, they stack credentials. Each increase feels like progress, until it has to be repeated. Again, and again, and again. This is where the confusion quietly forms, because income rewards participation, not permanence. Stop participating, and income stops too. But no one frames it that way. Instead, income is treated like stability, like something you have, rather than something you constantly generate. That misunderstanding isn't accidental. It's cultural. Entire systems are built around income because income keeps people moving, showing up, producing, participating. Wealth doesn't need constant participation. That's why it's discussed less. So when people feel stuck despite earning more, they don't question the definition. They question themselves. They assume the problem is effort, not structure, not measurement, not framing. That's where this conversation begins, not with judgment, not with advice, just with separating two things that were never the same to begin with. Most content talks at you. This one sits with you. If that difference stood out, if this felt real instead of loud, like the video, subscribe. This channel is built for people who notice patterns. There's a moment many high earners reach that feels confusing rather than celebratory. From the outside, everything looks right. The income is strong. The title sounds impressive. The numbers suggest progress. But internally, something feels off. The pressure didn't disappear. In some cases, it intensified. This is where the income narrative starts to crack. Because earning more doesn't automatically mean having more control. High income often comes with higher expectations, more responsibility, less flexibility, greater dependence on continued performance. The income rises, but so does the cost of losing it. That risk stays quietly in the background. Remove the paycheck, and everything pauses. Bills don't adjust downward. Obligations don't wait. Lifestyle expands naturally around income, not recklessly, not irresponsibly, incrementally. A better place to live, reliable transportation, convenience where time is scarce. None of it feels excessive, it feels earned. But expansion increases dependence. More income is now required just to stay in place. This is how high earners become fragile without realizing it. Not financially irresponsible, financially exposed. Income solves immediate problems. It pays bills. It reduces stress in the short term. But income doesn't change position. It doesn't create distance between effort and survival. It requires ongoing permission from employers, from clients, from markets. As long as that permission exists, the income flows. When it doesn't, everything tightens. This is why high income doesn't feel like freedom. It feels like responsibility multiplied. The margin for error shrinks. Time off becomes complicated. Risk feels expensive. The irony is subtle. The higher the income, the harder it becomes to step away. Not because people are trapped, but because they're needed. Needed to maintain the system their income depends on. This isn't failure, it's structure. Income rewards presence. Remove presence, and the reward disappears. That's why pressure persists even as numbers grow, because income increases scale, not control. This is the distinction most people never make. They feel stuck, but can't explain why. And without language for the problem, they keep chasing the same solution. More income. That chase doesn't fail because income is bad. It fails because income was never meant to do what people expect it to do. If this made sense to you, you already understand more than most people do. This channel exists for that kind of awareness. Like the video, subscribe. Nothing here is accidental. Once income and control are separated, wealth becomes easier to define. Not as a feeling, not as a lifestyle, as a position. Wealth isn't what arrives each month. It's what remains when nothing arrives at all. That distinction is rarely taught because it doesn't look impressive. It doesn't move. It doesn't announce itself. Wealth sits quietly on a balance sheet, not as a reward, but as structure. It exists whether you're present or not. That's the difference. Income requires participation, time, attention, continued approval. Wealth doesn't ask for any of that. It functions independently. That independence is what people mistake for freedom, but it's more accurate to call it leverage. Wealth shifts the relationship between effort and outcome, not by eliminating effort, but by reducing its necessity. This is why wealth is often invisible. It doesn't need to be demonstrated to justify itself. Ownership doesn't seek validation. It just exists. Most people never see wealth directly. They see spending. They see income. They see status. But spending can be borrowed. Income can be temporary. Status can be rented. Wealth doesn't behave that way. It accumulates quietly, often slowly, often unnoticed. This is why high income and low wealth can coexist comfortably, for a while. As long as income continues, the difference stays hidden. The moment income pauses, the truth becomes visible. Not emotionally, structurally. Wealth absorbs shock. Income doesn't. Wealth creates time. Income consumes it. This isn't a moral distinction. It's mechanical. Wealth isn't better. Income isn't worse. They serve different purposes. Income keeps life moving. wealth changes where you stand. Most frustration around money comes from expecting one to behave like the other, and it never does. Once that's understood, the conversation changes, not into ambition, but into orientation. You stop asking how much you earn and start noticing what depends on you to exist. That awareness alone creates distance from pressure. Not freedom, but stability. Before this continues, if you felt seen instead of sold to, that's the entire point of Relentless Wealth. Like the video, subscribe. We're just getting started. Once income and wealth are separated, the pressure around money begins to make sense. Not because the pressure disappears, but because it's no longer confusing. Clarity doesn't remove weight. It changes how you carry it. Income is movement. It flows in, it flows out. As long as you keep moving, income responds. Stop, and it stops too. That doesn't make income fragile. It makes it conditional. Wealth works differently. It doesn't care how fast you move. It doesn't react to your presence. Wealth is position. It determines where you stand before effort is applied. This is why chasing income alone often feels endless. There's motion, but no change in leverage. More speed, same ground. Different scale, same dependence. Income solves problems. It pays bills. It reduces immediate stress. Wealth changes structure. It absorbs disruption. It creates distance between effort and survival. That distance is what people mistake for freedom. But it's more precise to call it insulation. Most people aren't frustrated because they lack money. They're frustrated because everything depends on their continued output. No margin, no pause, no silence, just constant participation. Understanding the difference doesn't require ambition. It requires honesty. Honesty about what income can do, and honesty about what it can't. Wealth isn't a lifestyle upgrade. It's a structural shift. And structural shifts don't start with action. They start with awareness. Awareness of what moves and what stays. Awareness of what depends on you and what doesn't. Once you see that clearly, money stops feeling abstract. It becomes contextual, not emotional, not moral, just mechanical. That understanding is the foundation. Everything else builds on top of it. If this helped you separate income from wealth, if this gave you language for something you've felt but never named, like the video, subscribe, turn on notifications. This channel is about clarity.